let's get cracking. Following on from Preston, any injuries to contend with?
We'll see. We've got a couple being assessed. Obviously, Ender came off, so we need to assess him, get to the bottom of that. But that'll precautionary. But apart from that, I think we're good. So it's been a lighter day today, a bit more tactical today. So we'll know more tomorrow who's fit and available.
With regard to Stevens, is the checking regarding as whether he can play at the weekend, or he's definitely out for that, but it's not long term?
Yeah, just checking and making sure. He's obviously he's a lad who's just come back from COVID, had a week training. The problem we're finding is, and what all the niggles have come from, and we were half expecting it, is when we had all those games called off, our training load really dropped because we're preparing for games that were called off the last minute. Then all of a sudden, we managed to get a couple of good days in the build-up to the Wolves game, big jump up the Wolves game, so that's why we're getting the little niggles and the injuries.
How is Brewster then? Because he's played, 90 minutes, I suppose, across 2 games after his injury layoff?
Yeah. So he's had, obviously we got a lot of work into him on the training pitch. He got minutes in the 23s game, and then another good hour or so again on Tuesday night. So yeah, he's progressing as we would hope from that type of hamstring injury. So we want to keep him going that way.
Where's McBurney as regards his rehab?
He's had a good week this week. Kept him out of the squad over the weekend and Tuesday night so he could do more work, and he's applied himself really well because it's tough when you're doing it on your own, you know. So he's trained when we've been able to get him training with the players, and then done extra work when we've had games on the Saturday and the weekend and then Tuesday night.
Is there a rough idea as to when he might be back in the squad then and available to you?
Yeah, I want to put him back in as soon as possible. Like I said, we know he's still got a way to go, but he's certainly a lot different than when he came back from his illness. And you know, it's easy in hindsight, isn't it? But we were always doing what we thought was right, building him up. But he just wasn't ready after returning from COVID and picked things up, and looks totally different now. You know, looks a lot stronger and responding well to the hard work he's been doing.
Because he's one of those players that United fans gravitate to and think, well, if he can do what he did at Swansea here in the Championship, he could be quite the asset for you.
Yeah, listen, I know him. You know, I know him, and he's. We all think the same. The players think the same. The staff think the same. For whatever reason, we've not had that. But I said to Wally, it won't be through a lack of effort on our part, myself and the staff. That is a fact. So, yeah, he's going to be pushed. As all the boys are, but he's going to be pushed because we expect him to get to those levels.
How's Lys Mousset's diet plan coming along? We know we've addressed that recently, but is he in the frame of mind to be back sharpish?
And he won't be involved this weekend.
That is becoming quite the issue, isn't it? I suppose.
In terms of what, Lys not being involved, or?
Well, not being involved, not showing that he wants to be involved.
Yeah, listen, no, I think that'd be harsh on him. He wants to be, but for whatever reason, he hasn't been able to keep fit. And it's a tough industry where you have to make sacrifices to get there and get to the levels you need. You know, talent alone's not enough. There's a way to behave, there's a way to be professional, and there's a way to try and get the best out yourself, and we're trying to help him do that.
Changing tack then to incomings and outgoings. I know it's only been in a couple of days, but the search for a goalkeeper, where are you at?
Yeah, still. Well, as I said before, I think nothing really to add from Tuesday night, in the fact that you know, his hand became forced a hell of a lot with via Roman and Robin, and we're clear. Wes has earned that shirt at the minute, but we want to get him competition. So there's lots of goalkeepers out there, but we want to make sure that we can provide stiff enough competition to drive Wes on and have someone genuinely trying to compete and get past him, but also in the knowledge that, as I've said, right now Wes has earned that shirt.
Is it still maybe a possibility that you can get somebody in before the weekend? I mean, to a certain extent, there's not the dramatic rush. It's not like you don't have Eastwood that can sit on the bench.
Yeah, exactly. But we're light, you know, if anything happened. And like I say, it's not strange times. We're getting players right, left and centre falling across from all football clubs with COVID as well as injuries. So, as I said, it is a different window in that respect. So, yeah, you might say there's not necessity, there might not be, but there's certainly a need on my part to want to get one as soon as possible.
And, well, just on that then, is everybody COVID-free at Sheffield United as we count down to the weekend?
Today, yeah, good round of tests today. So obviously Ben Davies was the last one, which we're disappointed about because he'd built himself back up into real good shape, and we wanted to try and start getting him involved. But now again, the difficulty is you don't know how people are going to respond when they've got COVID. He's showing and displaying a lot of symptoms, so he's having to be careful at the minute, and we'll have to see how he is when he comes back.
Has it got to a stage within this transfer window whether deals are in place, it's just everybody is waiting, so equally there could be Sheffield United players destined to leave and it's all there until, and you're just waiting for the different plates to shift, which means it will all be last minute? Yeah,
I hope it's not. Like, we've been clear, it's been pretty evident where I've been looking in terms of position. But as I said, anything can change, ins, outs. Every player's situation is slightly different. Said all along, we're more than happy with the players we've got, but I'm well aware some players want more game time, and we're heavy in certain positions, and we're also light in others. So we need to address that as soon as possible.
What's being done to address, to kind of quote Chris Basham, I suppose, the 20-minute meltdown at Preston?
Yeah, it's very, very strange. So I think it's been more what's been done to address my state of mind over the game as well, as, because for 70 minutes the performance was great. We showed elements of everything we want to be in terms of being brave on the ball, really aggressive to win it back, and dominating a game, and against a good side away from home as well. So we've had to focus on that because that's what we want to replicate. But yeah, we spoke this morning about it, and there'll be some more work done this afternoon about it. And I'm still adamant that had that been 11 men, we wouldn't have made as many errors. We were very, very gung-ho, and as if the mentality just kept rolling, and because we saw all these opportunities to go and try and score, I know we weren't taking them, but there comes a point where just win the game. And it was as if the pattern of the game was set, and we weren't going to adapt to see the game out, and then poor decisions the last 20 minutes. Listen, I think we could play that game another 100 times, and that's the one time Preston would win it, in terms of the risks they were taking paid off for them, and we didn't capitalise. Watching it back, they didn't have to take risks, and it paid off for them, but we should have dealt with them without a doubt. So yeah, we have to learn from that, and we will, and we'll speak about that situation, because as I said, against no disrespect to Preston, against a better team with 11 men away at Fulham who were pressing, we showed a totally different mentality that was you shall not pass, and it was as if at Preston we were just the opposite in terms of we're going to score more goals than you, and the game was already won through the hard work and the discipline, if you like, of the first 2/3 of the game.
Yeah, those two games make what happened at Preston all the more extraordinary, doesn't it, really? Because for the game at Fulham was disciplined and then some, wasn't it? And then it all just went awry over at Deepdale. Yeah,
and listen, it was disciplined at Deepdale because we had to be really disciplined to press as high as we did. We had to be really disciplined to pass the ball as brave as we did. So there's certainly discipline in there, but we didn't adapt then. It was as if, I don't know, we saw opportunities to score more goals and stop doing the bits that earned us the right to dominate the game, and took risks, stepping out of positions that we didn't need to do at the back, that then allowed spaces. And as I said, even with that in mind and watching it back, credit to Preston because they went for it, but we could replay that many, many more times in the same pattern, the same decisions, and we would have come out on top. But we can't just hope for that. As I said, we have to do something about it and make sure we learn from it.
How significant for you is it that the vast majority of matches now, because of call-offs and rearrangements, are going to be at home in the running?
Yeah, I can't wait. So just to put things in perspective, what I've got in my mind and the players and the staff, if that type of performance at Preston in terms of the intensity, the intent, dominating the ball is at Bramall Lane, we all know what the stadium's going to be like. And that's what we want to do. We won't be able to achieve it every time, I know that, but we'll try to, and we'll certainly be pushing to. And and some performances may be more dogged and not as fluent. But so what? So long as the intent's there. And again, going back to Preston, it was chalk and cheese, the Derby display to the Preston display for me, and that's the pleasing thing. I think Nathan spoke before and asked me about are we becoming more reliable now? Are these the Sheffield United performances that we're going to see all the time? And we hope so, but the really pleasing thing for me is that there was a response at Preston. Everything we spoke about and worked on, the players went out and delivered it until, like we spoke about, that last 20 minutes where it all fell apart. So the performance at Preston was much more, having watched it back, much more reassuring and enjoyable for me. I know my circumstances were different, but that's how we want to play, not the Derby performance.
Because there will be a greater onus on Sheffield United at home to take those risks. Away teams generally are afforded a bit more, you can be solid, I suppose, but at home, take your opportunities.
Take your opportunities. And also, listen, I said it the other night in terms of, there comes a point, even against 10 men, where if you've done the job, you haven't got to have such an ego where you don't just close the game out and sit in and become really pragmatic. And there may be times at Bramall Lane when we have to do that, whether that's to weather a storm and earn the right to get in front, or if we do get in front. We all know how competitive the league is and how closely matched teams are, and every team poses a different threat. So, yeah, there'll be times at Bramall Lane where probably the work we have to do is all about stopping the opposition and limiting efforts on our goal and showing the spirit and the fight that we showed down at Craven Cottage, and the fans will respond to that as well. So we want to be able to do everything. It's not going to be gung-ho, leaving gaps and being easy to play against. We know we're going to take risks and try and play an aggressive style of football, but likewise at times that aggression might have to just be defending your own box.
It could quite well easily be argued that Saturday's match is quite the event. Sheffield United haven't played at home for getting on for 2 months. It's been a while.
And I hope everyone feels the same as we do here. We're desperate to get back there and play and perform. And as you said, it's going to be good that we've got more games at home than away coming up. The fans are looking forward to it. So hopefully the atmosphere is great and we can, as I said, play in the front foot and deliver a good performance against a good side, an energetic team who are holding their own and performing really, really well.
And how, just finally then, are they going about doing that then? What's your analysis of them?
Yeah, well, I've not seen the game from last night yet, but I watched this game on Saturday against Bournemouth, and probably them at their best this season in terms of what Nathan's trying to do and achieve. Really hard working, really fit group of players who can play as well, try and play football. So, yeah, they're going to be difficult opponents, and they're going to keep you honest, and they're going to make us work, and they're going to pose us threats because that's what they're determined to do. So we know we have to, but just the same as Preston. So we know we have to be at our best. We have to be brave to pass the ball. We have to compete in much the same way, and then cut out any errors.